now, Elizabeth, if it's okay with you, is let's jump into the recording discussion
Yes,
briefly.
absolutely.
Because it's now 11, so I think we can do this now, and it would be good. Okay,
Yep.
so as I sort of alluded at the beginning, and Elizabeth, please jump in if I miss anything, okay?
Absolutely.
Elizabeth and I were chatting yesterday, and we sort of came up with three different possibilities for doing this project. The first possibility is recording the audio and the video in person. And this would happen on May 7th. We would do the audio part in the morning and we do the video part early in the afternoon, and it would be done in a day. Um, so that's the first idea. We would do all that, and of course, I need to confirm a couple of things with John, which is why I need to talk to him later this week. But the idea would be we'd start and run each section. When your section is done, you'd go away for a little while, and then come back and we do the whole video, and it would all be done. The second method that we could do, depending on people's comfort level, because the act of singing for some in a group situation, it can be a little bit oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Nerve wracking still. Like some people are not ready for that, and that's totally fine, and we understand, especially given what's happening right now. But the other side of it is we could do the audio part virtually, just like we've been doing. You'd record at home, send it to me, I put it all together. But we could then use that and do the video part together, where we're lip syncing. We're not actually singing, and we could do it that way. So that mitigates some, hopefully, anxiety because we're not actually singing, because you don't have to with the video. And that would happen as soon as the voting is closed for this round. I could announce the winner, and then you could have a couple of days to do that recording. So you do the recording at home. We'd probably still do the video on May 7th, but it wouldn't be as long of a day. The third option that we sort of nailed down is to do basically what we have been doing for the last 2 years. Record. What I would do though is record yourself audio first, send that to me, and then we'd record the video, and then you'd send that to me. So we would do it that way. And that way it's 100% completely virtual. And then it would be no different than what we did say at Christmas time, where, and I think we did it that way at Christmas time, where we did the audio first and then recorded the video separately. So those are the three options. As I said as well, well, let me just backtrack. If we were to do the everything in person, the idea is to try to keep groups smaller. We would, of course, continue to sing in masks, and we break into sections. So we would do I think the would be the alto, the bass, soprano, and tenor is kind of what we worked out. And so the alto section would be first in the morning. You'd come, you'd warm up with Elizabeth and Charmaine. You'd get to sing together as a section, and then for about 25 minutes, and then you'd come to the recording space, and then we would record together. And then you would go away, and then the next group would come in, and there's a buffer time in between each section so that we can, sterilize chairs, sterilize the stuff that we do, sterilize any of the headsets we're using, and all that. So when the recording first starts, Elizabeth and maybe a small group of volunteers will sanitize that area for the next group. And then once that first recording group is finished, I and another group of volunteers would sterilize the recording space because it would be in two different places. So that's kind of the first step of this. And then we would get together in the afternoon fully. Again, we wouldn't be singing in the afternoon, because we would lip sync to the track in the space, and we'd go from there. So that's the idea for the in person. And then we've already talked about the other two. So I do know that there are various opinions in the group. And so Elizabeth and I worked it out last night. I think it will work. Um,
Quick,
uh,
the
oh, sorry.
before
I see a hand up for
mhm.
Teresa and Suzanne. Go ahead, ask your question.
Um, if if we're recording with masks on, do you have a sense for how that distorts the sound or
It actually is not too
content?
bad. What
Okay.
I can say is that the like if you go on to YouTube and type in Winnipeg singers, a couple of videos will pop up. And we did all of our recording over the last 2 years with masks on, And so we did that, and then we went to a location and recorded the video with masks off. That's why I kind of know this works. And I mean, it's a little bit muffled, but it's not as big an impact as you might think it is.
Yeah, it sounds yeah, it can sound quite good as it's, it's an adjustment, going from not singing or wearing masks for all of our lives until the last 2 years, but it's actually not so bad. And I still keep saying to Stuart, I'm like a broken record. I went to Solomon at the symphony, and I was just like, sitting in my chair being like, why do I have to wear my mask? I'm just sitting, no one's around me. And then I looked on stage and a whole mass choir full of, it was the University Singers Choir. So there was, mostly students of varying ages, but there was also community members of ages similar to people that are in our choir. And they were masked for the whole like 3 hour concert, and it sounded fantastic. So I was like, okay, I can wear my mask. This is no big deal.
Yeah.
You can still feel how you want to feel about it, but no, it doesn't affect the sound as much as you might think. It's kind of like a built-in pop filter like we have on our, it
Right.
helps with our plosives and our S's.
That's right. Good. Okay. So, Diane, you have a question.
Yes, I'm just wondering, for the video recording, whether we do it virtual or in person, the video part, is that going to be the whole choir together? And we're lip syncing, so we're not masked?
That's not necessarily the case. But yes, if we would do the video part virtually, um, the idea is that you would record it just as you did at home. So you wouldn't be wearing your mask, and I would put all the individuals together so it would look like the whole choir on the screen. If we are recording in the video part in person, and this is a conversation we can have, the idea is that we would have a number of cameras in the space. I think Elizabeth and I talked about having 4, maybe 5 that would be recording, and we'd be hopefully using the sanctuary at St. Jean Brébeuf, which can seat 500 or 600 people, and there are 40 of us. Not that I don't know if all 40 of us would participate, but we would spread ourselves completely around the space and make sure that everybody is seen on camera some way. It's not like a choir performance where I'd squish you all up on the chancel steps and you'd be there. We would be spreading ourselves out quite far in the space. So I mean, I did this. I mean, if it's a nice enough day, we could actually maybe do it outside too. I know I recorded with the Bisons this way their video before Christmas, and we didn't use masks. But I'm also open, and I did give the opportunity to them that if people wanted to, then we would all do that as well. But
Yeah, so that details for the video portion of the in-person mask or not mask is still, I guess, being ironed out, but it depends on, how many people are doing it, what are the provincial guidelines at that time. And of course, always do whatever you're comfortable with, even if we decide to suggest that, hey, it's okay, you can not wear them. But the video part will be more of like creative, like art piece video, encapsulating it. It's not just like filming us singing as a choir, like trying to recreate a live concert. It'll be more like dynamic, so we'll have a lot of space and hopefully a lot of options to choose to maybe not wear them. Yeah. So,
but I'll highlight something Elizabeth did say though, is that if we did do it that way and we suggested no masks, if you are only comfortable being and participating with a mask on, then you are welcome to be there and wear your mask. I'm not. We are not. It, the whole idea of choir uniformity is kind of going out the window a little bit with all of this, and so I'm happy to have you there regardless of how you decide to be there. So if you wear a mask, you wear a mask. I probably won't be in the video, so I would likely have my mask on, just so that you know. But we would do whatever you need to do to be comfortable. Does that answer your question?
Except for if it is outside, is that still at Brébeuf? Is there a
That I
place
don't know.
outside there?
That I don't know.
Okay.
If we were to do something outside, I know we did it. The Bisons did it in the backyard of somebody, so it's possible that if we decided to do the video, maybe we could rent a space at Assiniboine Park or something like that, and we could figure out something else to do. But that part of it, I mean, our initial thought was to do it in the sanctuary at St. Jean Brebeuf because it's such a big space. But we can certainly, if anybody has any strong feelings about that, you can certainly let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And oh, go ahead. Sorry, did I?
Oh,
did
I just said, okay, that's
Oh,
fine.
great.
Thanks, Diane. And I see your mic open.
Yeah, if you're thinking about indoor unmasked, even distanced, I think a lot of people would be reassured to know that other people were vaxxed and asymptomatic. So
Okay.
just
Mm.
Sure, and we can certainly, I mean, we can certainly do the vaccine card thing that we did at Christmas time. I still have a list of everybody that participated, so we could certainly include that as part of this as well. And thank you for that. I mean, I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I know in my family we do rapid tests every other day, and we have been doing that since January. So um, uh, you know, maybe that's something we could ask people to do, because you can get those tests for free, is to maybe do a test before you come in too. But we can have that conversation a little bit more in detail as we go through.
One thing I'm just going to say about rapid tests is that I didn't test positive until well after I was sick. And
Okay.
you are contagious before you are sick.
Right.
My husband was already feeling very normal again by the time he finally tested positive.
Okay.
I will add that a negative test is not very accurate. A
Right.
positive test is accurate, but a negative test is not, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we can only do what we can do, right? They aren't offering the other PCR tests really anymore, unless you're in the hospital, as far as I understand. But
sure. Where are you finding your tests? They're hard to find now.
we got them at the local library here.
Yeah,
We got a
public
bunch of them.
libraries are giving them out.
Okay.
And I think you can purchase them or get them for free at I've seen them advertised at Safeway pharmacies.
I was going to say certain grocery stores are getting them as well, and you can go in and ask for them. I know the Superstore often does. The Safeway, I think, does as well.
Yeah.
In their pharmacy areas. But yeah, like I said, the local library by me, we went in and we got 3 boxes of them. So
Yeah, they seem to be kind of in an abundance now, so I definitely recommend trying to source them out for yourselves and your families now while they're around, before it kind of goes down. But
I know a lot of people that have been to 10 different stores recently and haven't got them. So
oh wow.
come to our area.
what area are you in?
We're in
The-
Westwood St. James.
You're in
Westwood St. James area.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
Going just before we do the polls to re-summarize, I just want to add, Stuart and I are just giving you all the information and the 3 project options in their defined ways, but still flexible with details. But we're not trying to sway anyone's opinion to whether we're not trying to lean you towards in person, and we're not trying to lean you towards virtual. We're just trying to present the 3 options. So when Stuart launches this little poll, take a few minutes to read them out. The options currently, of course, like we said, dependent on the state of the world, are in-person audio and video, in-person video, at-home audio, or all at home. We want you to think right now in the present moment, what are you most comfortable with today? And just answer that for yourself. We respect and value everyone's opinion, and having people vote will really just give us information on what the choir wants and how we can move forward to present a project that we can celebrate our year end in a way that we can. So just wanted to add that little piece, that we're not trying to guide you to one certain way. We're doing our best to present what we can for a nice year-end musical celebration. And I see that Michelle has a question.
Yeah, Michelle.
Yes, I wonder whether you can add a section on your survey for feedback or a note that we can add.
Not right now, but you feel free to write to Elizabeth and I, or
please.
write to me later. I'd be happy to read those emails.
Great. Well, I think we should launch our 2-question poll.
All right. I think it's 3 questions.
Oh, yes, it's 3 questions.
Yeah, 3 questions. Okay. So there are 3 questions. I'm going to launch it now. You should see it come up on your screen. So please just sort of answer to the best that you can. The question basically is, what are you most comfortable with? And as Elizabeth said, we're just trying to get a sense of where people are. We don't want to go ahead with one way if nobody's comfortable with it. And like Elizabeth said, we're not trying to sway anybody one way or the other. It's just as we were talking, we sort of outlined the 3 possible ways that this project could go. And it's complicated, and I hate that we're still talking about this, but unfortunately, that's the way things go. So here it is. We'll go for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go from there.
It is anonymous, although
Yes,
we
it
do
is.
ask for your voice part, but again, that's still anonymous.
And I'll tell you the reason why is because if the predominant view is to do this in person, I need to know how many of each section, so I know how many headphones I need to rent and what other kind of equipment I need. So it's a logistical question. It's not that we're trying to narrow down and trying to guess who's doing what. The survey is completely anonymous. Okay, here we go.
Quick one.
Yeah, Ian.
There's 2 choir members here and only one voting card came up. Could you send me another one?
Unfortunately, I think it's one per screen is the way it works in Zoom. What I would suggest, Ian, is I'm going to send a link to a doodle poll, or not doodle poll, the Google form thing, probably tomorrow to everybody. I have to recreate this there. So I would suggest whoever in your house didn't respond to this one, respond to that one.
Yeah, Donna's quite upset that I did it instead of her.
Sorry about that.
I didn't get any survey. This is Kathleen. I didn't get any survey.
Oh, it didn't pop up on your computer, Kathleen?
And
No,
this
it
is
didn't.
Diane. I didn't get one either.
Okay, my apologies. My apologies for that. This is the first time I'm using a Zoom poll, and my understanding was that everybody in the call, it would pop up on their screen. So if it didn't, then I would do this. I would suggest the same thing that I suggested to Ian. When you see the link come through for the Google form question, it'll be exactly the same. Just fill that one in. But what I would ask, please, is if you did fill in today's, please don't fill it in again, because that would skew our numbers for the sopranos and altos.
Can I ask a question, Stuart? It's Diane Prescott.
Of course you can, Diane.
Yes, well, I've just completed it, but there was nowhere that said where my name was. It was just what I would like to do, that yep. I am a soprano, and yes, I'll participate, whatever. So was I supposed to find somewhere to put my name? If not, no. I don't know. I didn't find it.
No, okay. This is a completely anonymous poll. We want people to be completely fair and honest in their assessment. So we didn't want people's names. I just need to know how many of sopranos. I don't need to know who they are just yet.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, Diane.
If you did find somewhere to put your name, now that would be interesting.
That's true.
I would wonder whose survey that one was.
That's right.
I'm not entirely clear about where I'm going to find the chance to make my choice.
Well, you'll get a link from me in the next day or so.
Oh, okay.
And so I'll send it to the email, and then you just click the link and it will take you to the form, and then you would fill it in,
Okay.
and it'll be
Thank you.
exactly the same. I'm sorry, Kathleen. And it could be dependent on what version of Zoom you're running on your computer, whether you're using the web-based version, whether you're using the app or whatever. Like I just assumed that it would go to every screen.
Yeah, me
that
too.
is
Okay.
available.
So we'll make sure to get you an option to vote through email. But for
Yeah.
those
Good.
that didn't get
All
it,
right. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kathleen.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good to know. Well, Stuart, I'd say I'm watching here, and the numbers of participants that have answered hasn't gone up in the last few minutes, so you could probably end the poll.
Okay, we'll do that. All right. Good. Thank you for that. Like I said, this is mainly for information for Elizabeth and I, as we're sort of trying to make determinations of how things are going to go in the next little while, and we want to make sure that we're doing things that are comfortable for everybody, because like I said, we don't want to move ahead with one way or the other if people are not comfortable. And like I said, I recognize with this pandemic there are varying feelings of where people are at. Some are adamant about one way, some are adamant about another way. I know just from a very personal standpoint, those beliefs one way or the other has torn one of my choirs apart completely in a very sad way. So I recognize that this is a very sensitive issue for a lot of people, and we will do our best to try to make some accommodations. And whatever we decide to do, ultimately with this project, if it ends up being that we do it in person, we will still offer the opportunity for those who aren't comfortable with that to participate in some way as well, because we are a community choir, and part of this is community, and we want as many people to be involved as possible. So know that you're being heard, know that you're being listened to, and we're going to do our best to try to sort of thread the needle in the best possible way. Teresa and Suzanne, I see your mic has popped open.
I was just saying that, of course, we have at least one member who's not in Manitoba, so
Oh, I didn't.
it'll be nice, right? Don't we still have BC?
Teresa, you're gone again?
No, Carol McPherson.
Oh,
is
that's
in
right. Yes,
Victoria.
that's right. That's right. And
So
I
this
don't
will
know.
allow to have an option to include those who
That's right.
won't
Exactly.
be in person anyway.
That's right.
Right.
And so there will still be a virtual component for those who aren't comfortable in person, if that is the way to go. So we want to make sure that we can get everybody to participate as much as possible. Good. And I see your mic popped open again.
No, I was just letting you know where Carol lives.
Oh, that's right.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I was very adamant about, with Carol, and I just had completely forgotten about that. But yes, absolutely, we do have somebody who's
We'll
not
fly
in
her
province.
in.
Hey, yes, she was actually in town a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately we weren't doing anything in person, so she wasn't able to join us. But we'll see. She said maybe next time. But
Mhm.
good. Any other comments or questions before we close out this morning? No, good. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for the discussion in the last 20 minutes. It's been informative for me, and informative in terms of us sort of thinking about moving forward with some stuff. This is still a month away. Lots can happen in a month, but I do want to say that it's not an easy decision to make, and I do appreciate all the varying feelings that people have. And I do want you to know that you are heard, that we are listening, and we will try to find the best way to do that, because that's what we are. Diane, I see your mic has popped open.
I'm just curious, how close was the vote between the last two songs?
Oh, sure. It was
Not close.
80. It was not close at all, actually. It was 80% for Rev Shel Shoshanim and 20% for The Road Not Taken. Surprised me. I thought it would be closer, but yeah, it was basically 8-2.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
you're very welcome. Good. Any other last minute
Yeah.
questions or anything?
Just confirming that we are not meeting next Saturday because it's Easter Saturday.
You're correct.
And what about, did you say something about the following one we wouldn't be meeting either, or did I misunderstand?
No, I can actually tell you, and I will send this in an email, but I can just give me 1 second. So There is no virtual session on Tuesday this week for those who do both. There's no session Tuesday. There's no session Saturday. So that's the 12th and 16th. So we have the session today, which will be up by the end of the weekend. The next session will be on the 19th. And the 19th, we would look at Homeward Bound one more time. And then the 23rd, we would look at Erev Shel Shoshanim. And the 26th, we'd look at Erev Shel Shoshanim.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Diane. Any other questions? Stevie, I see your mic has popped open.
I was just going to ask, were you surprised with the results of the voting? Like when you set up the repertoire quest at the beginning, did you have a thought as to where it would go? And did we meet that?
That is a loaded question, Stevie.
I feel like that's like a question we should answer after the.
Yeah. How about I will leave it at this. One of the pieces that I expected made the cut. The other one surprised me. How's that, Stevie?
All right, we'll work with that.
What's that?
I said I can work with that.
Perfect. Yeah, it's been interesting. Some of the votes through this process were way further apart than I was expecting. There were some votes that happened where I thought the pieces would be closer together. Some of them completely surprised me, like the week that we voted to do the banquet fugue when it won. That surprised me. I can't remember what it was up against, but it was like, oh, that's cool. They went in that direction, which is kind of neat. It's been a very fascinating experiment to do it this way. But yeah, I will say one of the pieces that is now in the final round, both Elizabeth and I kind of expected to be there. The other one, it was kind of very cool. So yeah. Good. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, then. On that note, then, Elizabeth, thank you very much for this morning. And thank you to all of you for everything this morning. And like I said, thank you for the conversation and your thoughts. If you have any other thoughts with respect to the recording, I was going to say, please don't hesitate to email. I know a few of you have in the last couple of days already, but please don't hesitate to send me a note. I know we got a note in the chat about it as well. And we will take all of those comments and thoughts into consideration as we move forward with our the recording of this final project. So great. Teresa Suzanne, I see your mic popped open again.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to hit the mic open. One question, one comment. Based on what you were just saying very recently about the songs we were going to do. So we're going to practice Homeward Bound twice, and then Rosh Hashanah twice, and then we vote after all of that.
Yes, well, it'll be the same idea. So
okay.
Yeah, after the Saturday session, the first with Erev Shel Shoshanim, the voting will open. So it'll be that same Saturday to Tuesday. And then the voting would close on Tuesday. So it would cover both. So yeah, we won't be voting until we've looked at the Erev Shel Shoshanim. And then
each of them, like today, next time will be Erev Shel Shoshanim. Yeah.
Yes, the next Saturday that we meet will be the Erev Shel Shoshanim.
Okay.
And so voting will open after that.
Yeah.
And then the following Tuesday we will revisit the Erev Shel Shoshanim, and then it would close that night, just like we've been doing all the way along.
Okay. And my comment was just that, in general, I know everybody's getting very tired of the mandates and COVID and the masks and et cetera, but this will pass.
Yes.
This too will pass. And not necessarily a need to rush it, just nice, but.
No, I completely agree. And it's a timing game at this point. But I mean, we have to do what we have to do, and we all have to be safe and comfortable with what we're doing. So
yeah, and I'll just add on that note, not to take away from the hardships, but I also feel personally that we've come a long way, right, in 2 and a bit years, and if this is our life to be for a little bit, I mean, I found that as much as it's still hard, it is getting a bit easier too. It's easy if you have access to rapid tests there, and you've tried them a couple times, that gets easier. So there's still lots that are that is getting easier and not becoming such events. I find personally, that's just my 2 cents. If that makes sense, what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to add that, like we're normalizing it, right? And
Yeah.
finding as a society ways to integrate it more easier, and I'm hoping that others are finding that too.
Right. Cool. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We will see you after Easter. So everybody, have a great Easter.
Hope the Easter
Happy
Bunny visits you.
Easter.
Yes,
Happy
indeed.
Easter.
Easter.